arrested. Police have the suspect wanted in those two stabbings in and around Dufferin Station. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman has more about the suspect.
$2,000, that's the new reward money Crime Stoppers is offering for tips in retail thefts in the GTA, but only for a few weeks.
And today, the warmest January 9th on record for Toronto, but the weather is taking a turn. We're going to check in with Environment Canada coming up.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Saad.
And I'm Melissa Duggan. Welcome to Live at 5. Police have arrested a suspect in two unprovoked stabbings near Dufferin and Bloor.
And the city's police chief is reassuring the public. Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman, who's outside of Dufferin subway station tonight. Beatrice.
Bakari, Melissa, the reason the chief is reassuring the public is because this evening, the person that police allege is responsible for these two unprovoked stabbings here at Dufferin Station has been arrested and formally charged by Toronto police. His name is Noah Christopher Chapman, again, 18 years old. He's from the city of Toronto. He was arrested in Hamilton first thing this morning after someone who was clearly paying attention, was aware of what's going on, saw Chapman after seeing his face on the news, including here on CP24, called police, and he was arrested a short while later. Here's a bit of what we heard from Chief Myron Demke this morning.
As of this morning, I was briefed that in regards to the Dufferin subway stabbing incident, we do have someone in custody this morning. There'll be more for you through our news conference or through our corporate communications. But, you know, we do have someone in custody for that at the moment. And I think that speaks to the tenacity of our police officers and our investigators who, no matter the incident, will invest the resources necessary and do everything they can to bring offenders to justice.
And it was just actually around this time, Bakari and Mel, on Wednesday when this troubling incident happened, 4:38 p.m., just getting into rush hour. Police allege that Chapman and the first victim were in the underground mezzanine level of Dufferin subway station. Police saying he approached the first victim from behind and stabbed this person and then ran away. Just a few moments later, about 100 meters from where I'm standing at Bloor and Pauline Avenue, police allege Chapman assaulted a second victim again, stabbing this person. And police saying both of these attacks were unprovoked, that Chapman and the two victims did not know one another. So, of course, when there's random incidents like this, it causes people to feel uneasy, causes people's safety to almost be called into question. And it's causing people as well to be more vigilant. Here's a bit of reaction and people that I spoke to outside of Dufferin Station this afternoon.
My first reaction is to just let people be aware, because you know, it ebbs and flows in society, and it doesn't mean that an area might be bad or whatever, but it's just good to remember that it's not up to law enforcement to keep us safe. It's up to us to also use our eyes and ears.
Does it make you more vigilant walking around?
A little bit, but I'm probably more like paranoid than the average person anyway, so absolutely, I just appreciate the awareness.
Well, it's unsettling, it's problematic, it's worrisome, but I think it's a symptom of a bigger problem across the city.
Like what?
Times are tough. Supports are not in place, and things are just falling apart.
And of course, as troubling as this situation here at Dufferin Station was on Wednesday, even more troubling the situation at U of T Scarborough campus, where just before the new year, a third-year student, an international student from India, was just absolutely brutally gunned down. Police allege that the perpetrator in that case was simply looking, as the homicide detective sergeant in charge of this case said, was simply looking for someone to kill. And they don't know why this person chose Shivank Avashti that afternoon at the U of T Scarborough campus. So you've got this string of random incidents here in the city of Toronto, and obviously it leaves people feeling on edge. The solace here from the policing perspective is that both the person that police believe is responsible for Avashti's murder at U of T Scarborough campus, who has now been formally charged with murder, and the 18-year-old man that police believe is responsible for this double stabbing here at Dufferin Station, both of them have now been arrested and charged by police. In the case of Chapman, again, 18 years old, facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of aggravated assault and weapons charges as well. Bakari and Mel.
Important updates on both of those stories. Thanks so much for that, Beatrice. Toronto Police and Crime Stoppers are offering bigger cash rewards for tips related to retail crime.
Okay, for more on the launch of Crime Stoppers Month, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's in Bloor West Village tonight. So, Steve, as they say, money talks, right?
Money is a great motivating factor when it comes to people providing information to the police. And this is what was the idea behind Crime Stoppers. And the genesis of Crime Stoppers goes back to 1976 in New Mexico. A police detective had an unsolved murder. He teamed up with a local police station, and Crime Stoppers was born. It's been around for 50 years, and it's been a very effective program. I can tell you that as a former detective, I used Crime Stoppers tips to help solve some of the cases that I was involved with as well. So it is a very important program when it comes to law enforcement. So we heard today at police headquarters, the chief and the mayor spoke about this new initiative when it comes to kicking off Crime Stoppers, and that is regarding retail theft. There's an added $2,000 as an incentive for those that would provide information that will lead to the arrest of people who police would then believe on reasonable grounds were committing retail thefts, distributing, storing, stealing stolen property. So this is an important initiative, and it is one that's being put out there now to combat retail thefts. Retail thefts have grown from just petty, minor things to now a big business, especially for organized crime. So this initiative today is being spoken about in hopes that people will want to earn some extra cash, and they will provide information, anonymous tips to those who they believe may be stealing or selling or fencing a stolen property. Here's more from Toronto Police we heard from earlier on today with regards to Crime Stoppers. Let's listen.
The goal of Project Shelf Defense is to identify repeat offenders and retail theft trends, find links between theft investigations, and of course, put a stop to these offenses. To date, through the hard work and dedication of the officers assigned to this project, we've been able to identify and charge a number of these repeat offenders. This includes one offender that we charged with 53 counts of theft, who is responsible for over $30,000 in stolen property. That offender has since pled guilty.
So if you do know somebody who you believe is committing retail thefts, fencing property, selling stolen property, provide anonymous information to the police, and if that person is apprehended, charged, and convicted, there is some extra cash to be made as a result. So as you said, Bakari, money is a great motivating factor when it comes to people wanting to make some extra cash by telling on somebody they know it's actually stealing property. So back to you guys.
Okay, live in Bloor West Village, CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. An elderly woman's in critical condition. This is after being hit by a vehicle in Whitby. So the collision happened in the area of Brock and Mary Streets. It was around 1:15 this afternoon. Police say the woman suffered life-threatening injuries and was taken to a trauma center. The cause of the crash is being investigated.
Crews had to tackle a fire at an encampment under the Gardner today. Firefighters, police, and paramedics responding to the Queens Quay and Reese Street area around 11:15 this morning. And they've received reports of a fire burning inside of a tent. Toronto Fire says one person was assessed at the scene, but it's not clear just how seriously hurt they were. There's no word yet on what started the fire.
And the TTC CEO is apologizing after another morning of transit delays. The morning commute snarled as service was suspended between Finch and Shepherd Young Station for hours. On Line 2, a separate issue halted trains between Broadview and Woodbine stations.
I was definitely left wondering and waiting. I was there for at least 20-25 minutes, and the train just went nowhere, and it was really slow. I ended up being late. It was a whole mess.
I was able to arrange a little bit early. Otherwise, there's 20 people waiting for us. I was not happy.
I was making arrangements because I was with time constraints, so I was trying to reel people to help me out because of the announcement, and then it changed last minute. So I ended up not having to leave the train and continue, but it was disruptive.
I was on Bloor Young, and then I went to the station, Donland Station, and then it was frequently stopping and going. So it would stop for a few minutes, and then it would continue on. But it did delay me a little bit, by 10 minutes, I think.
The statement from Mandeep Lawley reads in part, when I joined the TTC 6 months ago, I committed to improving service reliability. While I'm proud of the progress we've made, including better maintenance practices and reducing slow zones, I know there's no more work ahead. We have a strong foundation upon which to build, and dedicated staff focus on keeping our system safe and in good repair. It's critical that we learn from these disputes and take every step to prevent them from happening again. An ongoing road closure in the Swansea neighborhood after a storm sewer collapse leading to a sinkhole. This is a live look at the scene on Windermere Avenue near Morningside Avenue. The sewer has been repaired and the road patched, but Windermere remains closed in the area.
And the city's getting ready to kick off a pothole repair blitz. Officials say that the first phase is scheduled to get underway at 10:30 tonight. It'll run until 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when a second larger phase will start. That'll run until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The city says that it's not seeing an increase in potholes from last year at this time, but that crews are continuing to work proactively to identify, document, and fix road damage.
Getting rid of potholes. I think everyone's on board with that. It is 5:10. It is 5 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, today was the warmest January 9th on record, but we're dealing with strong winds as we remain under a special weather statement. We're going to talk to Environment Canada next. Today is the warmest January 9th since 2008. But the temperatures dropped dramatically since the record was broken, and we're now under a special weather statement as the strong winds continue.
A weird Friday. I think that is what is in the forecast. We're joined live by Monica Vaswani. Thanks so much for being with us. Warning preparedness meteorologist with Environment and Climate Change Canada. Appreciate you being here on such a balmy January day. I mean, what did it feel like for you walking out there?
Well, it felt like a cool spring day, if I can say so myself, but definitely very gusty. I mean, I'm in the Toronto area, so it was about 15.2 degrees today, believe it or not.
Wow.
Okay, so let's talk about this, the warmest January 9th on record. Can you give us a little historical context here?
Absolutely. So the record to beat was 11.6 degrees in 2008 for January 9th, warmest January 9th day on record. We hit 15.2 at Pearson International Airport today just after 3 p.m. So not only did we beat that record out of the water, we actually also made it to, I believe, the 4th warmest January day on record. So not just January 9th, but January day on record. So quite a significantly warm day, given that our normal daytime temperatures at this time of year are about -1, -2.
Yeah, I'm thinking about parents dressing kids up for school today, that they probably lost a few mittens along the way, I imagine. So I'm wondering just how long these conditions are going to stick around for, and if you could explain kind of the science behind why we're seeing such warm conditions right now.
Absolutely. So we do have quite a large low pressure system that's been affecting most of southern Ontario and even parts of northern Ontario, really. And because of the positioning of the jet stream, our low track has pushed a little further north. What that means is all this warm, moist air had the ability to move in from the U.S. Midwest and the Gulf right up into southern Ontario. And that's what brought the very warm temperatures, but also the associated very strong winds that we're currently seeing. So we do have special weather statements in effect for wind right now throughout parts of the GTA. But the good news is the worst of it is really right now. If you're in Toronto and West GTA, you've pretty much seen most of the bad weather already. We've actually seen wind gusts as high as, I believe, just around the 80-kilometer-per-hour mark at Pearson and even higher downtown. But now that cold front is moving eastwards, it's moving off to Pickering and then eastern Ontario. So the winds are really going to start to die down over the next couple of hours.
Yeah, so Monica, that was going to be my next question. These winds bringing cooler air, what's in store for the weekend?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're really dealing with some winter whiplash, unfortunately. The warm temperatures today are going to give way actually to colder, much colder temperatures tomorrow. Daytime highs closer to around 3 degrees in the GTA. And we're also going to deal with a secondary system. Now that system, it's not going to move in until tomorrow evening, so that's Saturday evening. But what it will do is bring a rain-snow mix to the downtown core. But if you're in the northern GTA, York region, Newmarket even, you are likely seeing accumulating snow and even maybe the risk of some freezing rain into Sunday morning. And that's not all, unfortunately. By Sunday, it's going to feel like full-blown winter again. Wind chills in the minus double digits by the afternoon, and our lake effect snow machine is turning back on for the snowbelt regions.
Okay, so we had a brief break from winter weather today, but it's coming our way once again. I appreciate you breaking that down for us. Monica Vaswani with Environment Canada, so nice chatting with you.
Thank you very much for having me, and happy weekend. Stay safe out there.
You
Same
too.
to you. It's 5:16, 5 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the province suing one of the companies at the center of the Skills Development Fund scandal. We're going to break it down. Welcome back. The province is suing Keel Digital Solutions. That's one of the companies at the center of the Skills Development Fund scandal. The software company operates a platform for mental health care. Keel received about $7.5 million in skills funding development money, despite its application being lower ranked than others. In November, the OPP opened an investigation into the company after an audit found irregularities. Now, the province has filed a statement of claim alleging fraudulent misrepresentation relating to contracts with the colleges and universities ministry. The suit is seeking $25.9 million. Ontario Liberal parliamentary leader John Fraser says there needs to be a full investigation into the Skills Development Fund.
The Premier's engaged just in a further cover-up of the fact that he and his government gave hundreds of millions of dollars in skills development funds to rich insiders, donors, friends, people connected to lobbyists that were friends of the government. And so so we're actually, so now they're going to sue the company that got a skills development fund grant while it had been flagged for the forensic audit because the minister intervened on behalf of his friend who was a lobbyist.
NDP Shadow Finance Minister Jessica Bell says she believes the lawsuit is an attempt at damage control. A statement.
The time when the government should have been looking at Keel Digital Solutions was a few years ago, before they gave them another $7 million of funding as part of the Skills Development Fund. It looks like now they're just covering their tracks and they're trying to make themselves look good, but the stink is here. We're very concerned about the government's handling of the Skills Development Fund. That's why we have called on the Integrity Commissioner to investigate.
A statement from Ontario NDP leader Mart Stiles reads in part, rather than take accountability for this mess, Ford is once again going to court to cover his tracks and his Ontario taxpayers left footing the bill. He has ignored my calls to remove this minister for too long already. It's time for the Premier to do the right thing and fire him.
And Public Health Ontario is out with its latest reading on how the flu is spreading in the province. This is after pausing updates over the holidays. The agency says that influenza activity continues to drop, but it remains high, with 1 in 4 tests coming back positive last week. Nearly 1,100 patients were hospitalized over the week ending January 3rd. Health experts say that getting vaccinated is the best way to protect yourself from becoming severely ill with the virus.
A Manitoba Conservative MP is urging Premier Doug Ford to rethink a plan to pull Crown Royal from LCBO shelves. Ford says he's planning to yank the whiskey off Ontario liquor store shelves. That's in response to the drinks maker Diageo planning to close a Windsor area bottling plant next month, tossing 200 out of work. But Manitoba's James Bazan claims that would only spark an interprovincial trade war. Currently, the whiskey is bottled here in Ontario, but is distilled in Manitoba.
It's 5:22, 5 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Hockey Canada has unveiled its roster for the Olympic women's team. We're going to have a look next.
Well, Hockey Canada has unveiled a women's team that's going to be tasked with defending Olympic gold. This is going to be at the 2026 Winter Games. Forward Blair Turnbull and defender Renata Fast. They were on hand as they were named to the 23-player squad in Toronto today. The team's going to include 13 forwards, 7 defenders, and 3 goalies. 16 of the players already have Olympic experience under their belts, having competed at the 2022 Games. And Canada has won 5 of 7 gold medals since women's hockey made its Olympic debut.
It's a huge honor for me to be named to the team and to be able to represent Canada, and I know all my teammates are feeling the exact same way. When I reflect on the last quad And I think ahead to Milan, I am filled with nothing but excitement and confidence about what our team is capable of. This past quad has been full of ups and downs and a lot of change for our sport. But I would say the one thing that has never changed within our group is our passion, our connection, the heart that we all have, and our commitment to doing whatever it takes to win.
When I look at the roster, I see so much skill and so much compete, and then obviously a ton of experience as well. But with that experience, there's also 7 first-time Olympians, and I think as a group, we're so proud of them and we're excited for them to have earned this opportunity to forever be called an Olympian, something that all of us have dreamt since we were very young.
As we move towards final selection this past few weeks, the decisions were incredibly difficult. There were many directions this roster could have taken. Ultimately, we looked at body of work, we looked at readiness to compete at the highest level, and the serviceability of this group. Ensuring we have versatility and adaptability required to navigate the demands of an Olympic tournament and put ourselves in the best possible position to succeed.
Well, the Canadian women will open the defense of the gold medal February 5th against Finland and Milan. They're also going to face Switzerland, Czechia, and the U.S. in Group A, which features the world's top 5 seeds. Now, all Group A teams and the top 3 in Group B will play in the quarterfinals.
Wow, Olympics just around the corner. That's coming up fast.
Yeah.
And the Raptors will go for their 4th straight win tonight as they visit the Celtics.
Mamu quickly for the win! Quick does it at the end! Emmanuel quickly! Call 5!
Emmanuel quickly hitting a buzzer beater to give Toronto a 1-point win against Charlotte on Wednesday. Both Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, they are questionable for tonight's game due to injury. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. It is 5:27. It is 5 degrees, and this is Live at 5.
And police have arrested a suspect in 2 unprovoked stabbings near Dufferin and Bloor. We're going to have more on how the community is reacting tonight coming up.
Arrested. Police have the suspect wanted in those 2 stabbings in and around Dufferin Station. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman has more about the suspect.
$2,000. That is the new amount of reward money that Crime Stoppers is offering for tips and retail thefts in the GTA, but only for a few weeks.
And we probably didn't need to tell you this. Today is the warmest January 9th on record for Toronto. It is a balmy one, but the weather, it has taken a turn. We'll have the latest on the conditions coming up.
This is Live at 5.
Hello, I'm Melissa Duggan.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. So, police have arrested a suspect in 2 unprovoked stabbings near Dufferin and Bloor.
And the city's police chief is reassuring the public. Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman, who's outside of Dufferin subway station tonight. You know, we've been watching those videos that show the stabbing, just such disturbing stuff, Beatrice.
Yeah, incredibly disturbing, Mel and Bakari. I mean, when these kinds of random attacks happen, it causes people to feel pretty uneasy in their own communities. I mean, I spoke to one person, and you'll hear from her in a moment. She works the night shift. She was leaving for work just within the hour, coming home around midnight. She's saying, yeah, it causes me to walk around, to look around, to be more aware of my surroundings. And hey, my home, my area is supposed to be my sanctuary. And she doesn't feel that's necessarily the case after what happened on Wednesday. It was 4:38 p.m. Police say that an 18-year-old man named Noah Christopher Chapman approached the first victim, they say, in the underground mezzanine level here of Dufferin subway station. Police say that Chapman approached this person from behind, stabbed them, and then left the station. He didn't make it very far, made it just to Bloor and Pauline Avenue, where police say a second victim was approached. That person was also stabbed, police allege, by Chapman. In both instances, police say these were unprovoked attacks, that Chapman did not know either one of these people. And so again, it's causing people to feel pretty uneasy, even though he's now been arrested and formally charged with various offenses, including aggravated assault and weapons charges. Here's a bit of what I heard from commuters here outside of Dufferin Station tonight.
It's scary. I live on this street and I saw the video. I think it was from Economy Fruit of the CCTV footage. It's scary. Yeah, it's so unpredictable and it feels like, I don't know, there's a serious mental health crisis in the city that isn't being addressed, and it's just like a bigger, or it's just symbolic of that, I guess.
Yeah, does it make you more vigilant at all in terms of being aware of your surroundings?
Yeah, I walk around here a lot, so it's a little bit frightening, and yeah, I'll be looking around more probably.
Safety is the most important, and I am a woman. I'm working at night. Right now I'm going, like I said, at night shift. I'm gonna come in 12 o'clock, 12:30. I wanna come home safe. But when I hear this, makes me really uncertain and sad.
And so, of course, these double random stabbings in the first week of 2026, causing people to feel unsafe. But not only that, it comes just days after an absolutely horrific homicide happened in our city just before the new year on the U of T Scarborough campus. A third-year international student from India was out on the trail on his own university campus, walking around, when he was shot and killed by someone who police allege, and the detective sergeant in charge of this homicide case said the person responsible, she believes, was just looking for someone to kill. And they're still trying to figure out why that person targeted, allegedly, Shivank Avashti, who again lost his life in this brutal random killing. And so these kinds of situations, they cause people to feel really worried about their surroundings, to have their sense of security really question the chief today, trying to assure members of the public. Here's what we heard from Chief Demke.
This is part of what we talk about when we talk about co-designing, co-developing, and co-delivering community safety. We don't police communities, we police with our communities. And in these cases you're describing, it's very important for us to have strong relationships, trusting relationships with our communities, with our institutional partners, be it the education system or others, to make sure that, first of all, we understand the concerns and we can be there to provide a sense of safety and security, and importantly, be there when we're needed the most. And that's really all about building relationships and having the capacity to invest the time to have those trusted relationships kind of grow over time and be responsive to what's happening.
And the relationships that Chief's talking about is pretty important. Not only relationships between police and school officials and other public places where people go to enjoy their freedoms, walk around, enjoy their school life, at the U of T Scarborough campus, for example, but also relationships with the public. A reminder that if you see something, say something, bring it to the police's attention, but certainly both people responsible not only for the murder, but for the double stabbings now formally arrested and charged by police. Back to you.
Two important arrests there. Thanks so much for that, Beatrice. Appreciate the update tonight. Toronto Police and Crime Stoppers are offering some bigger cash rewards for tips related to retail crime.
For more on the launch of Crime Stoppers Month, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan, who is in Bloor West Village. Retail theft. Why is this important? Why is this a focus?
Retail thefts are a huge business when it comes to organized crime. It used to be petty theft. It used to be a nuisance crime, and it is that no longer. Just last month, Bakari, we covered a press conference out in Hamilton, where the Hamilton Police, along with other police services around the GTA, worked on a retail theft project. And the officers then said to us that organized crime has really got their foot in the door when it comes to retail thefts, and it's big money. And it costs the people who own those businesses a lot of money, and it costs consumers a lot of money as well, because prices get jacked up. And this is why it is a focus for all police services. So we heard today that the initiative is going to be started with Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers was started 50 years ago. A detective in New Mexico, thinking outside the box, was working on an unsolved homicide, hooked up with a TV station, and Crime Stoppers was born. And it's been very effective in helping law enforcement fight crime and identify people who others report have committed a crime. So it really is an effective program. You get money for providing information if there is an arrest and a conviction. And when it comes to this new initiative, there's an extra $2,000 on top of what you would get with a regular Crime Stoppers report, because police are cracking down on retail theft because it costs everybody a heck of a lot of money. We heard from police earlier on today with regards to this initiative, and here's what we were told. Let's listen.
We are asking for the public's help in locating 3 repeat offenders of retail theft in 11 Division. You'll see on the screen here, we have identified Ramla Shire. She's wanted on 6 counts of theft under $5,000 and 12 counts of failed to comply with probation. Adam Paul, is wanted on 12 counts of theft under $5,000 and 8 counts of failed to comply with a release order. And Flory Curar, wanted on 2 counts of theft under $5,000, 1 count of theft over $5,000, 2 counts of failed to comply with undertaking and failed to comply with a release order.
That's a lot of failed to comply. They're just allegations, of course, but just on those 3 names that the officer mentioned there's an awful lot of failing to comply with release orders, probation orders. That gives you an indication as to just how prevalent retail thefts are, because even if those who are out on releases, police tell me oftentimes that they are the people that are the recidivism. They keep repeating and doing the same sort of crime. So if you have information pertaining to what we just ran there with regards to those suspects or any other people who are committing retail thefts, provide an anonymous tip to the police and it could make yourself some extra cash. Back to you guys.
Okay, live in Bloor West Village, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. An elderly woman's in critical condition after being hit by a vehicle in Whitby. This collision happened in the area of Brock and Mary Streets around 1:15 this afternoon. And police say that the woman suffered life-threatening injuries and was taken to a trauma center. The cause of the crash is being investigated.
Crews had to tackle a fire at an encampment under the Gardner today. Firefighters, police, and paramedics responding to the area of Queens Quay and Reese Street around 11:15 this morning. And they had received reports of a fire burning inside of a tent. Toronto Fire says one person was assessed on scene, but it's not clear just how seriously they were hurt. There's no word yet on what started the fire.
And the TTC CEO is apologizing after another morning of transit delays. So the morning commute was snarled as service was suspended between Finch and Shepherd Young Station for hours. On line 2, a separate issue halted trains between Broadview and Woodbine stations.
Oh, I was definitely left wondering and waiting. I was there for at least 20-25 minutes, and the train just went nowhere, and it was really slow. Yeah, I ended up being late. It was a whole mess.
I was able to arrange a little bit early. Otherwise, there's 20 people waiting for us. I was not happy.
I was making arrangements because I was with time constraints, so I was trying to reel people to help me out because of the announcement, and then it changed last minute. So I ended up not having to leave the train and continue, but it was disruptive.
I was on Bloor Young, and then I went to the station, Donland Station, and then it was frequently stopping and going. So it would stop for a few minutes, and then they would continue on. But it did delay me a little bit, by 10 minutes, I think.
And a statement from TTC CEO Mandeep Latley reads in part, quote, "When I joined the TTC 6 months ago, I committed to improving service reliability. While I'm proud of the progress we've made, including better maintenance practices and reducing slow zones, I know there's more work ahead, and we have a strong foundation upon which to build and dedicated staff focused on keeping our system safe and in good repair. It's critical that we learn from these disruptions and take every step to prevent them from happening again."
It is 5:45 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, we're going to go to Mississauga next. This is where a family who was on vacation when their home was mistakenly demolished, they're still waiting for compensation years later.
An incredible story from Mississauga where a family is still waiting for compensation years after their home was mistakenly demolished while they were on vacation.
Okay, CTV's John Woodward has more on this story. John, they're still waiting for years?
Yeah, Bakari, it's been a journey. And if you look behind me, we're actually at the site where that house used to be. It is clearly not there anymore. And the story about how that happened, it's a bit of a comedy of errors. In 2018, a contractor was meant to demolish that house over there, 25 on this street. They dropped the excavator off across the street. The following contractor came along, got in the excavator and knocked down a portion of the house behind me. And the owner, who didn't live there at the time, the owner got a text from his neighbor of that excavator doing its job, was shocked, and I actually believe we have a clip of him to play.
Well, I was on vacation with my wife at the time in Europe, and I got the phone call as we were getting ready for dinner, and it was quite the shock, to say the least. And the bigger shock, I would say, is that it's been 7.5 years and nothing has happened.
So he decided to sue the contractor, and it's been in court ever since. Now, we did reach that contractor and asked him what happened, and from his point of view, he said it was a mistake, definitely admitted the mistake, but also said that it was an understandable one, because at the time, the house it appeared to be in the stages of going towards a demolition. There was a demolition permit. Steps had gone towards it. There was also utilities cut off. So it did look a little bit like the one across the street. So the legal wrangling that's been going on for so long has to do with how much to compensate. Not whether it was an accident or not, but how much should we pay? A full house worth compensation? A portion of the house worth compensation? Was it moving towards a demolition? The owner says, yeah, I was looking at demolishing it, but he didn't have the cash to continue. So the other thing I should tell you is we learned only a very short time ago that the hearing that was planned for Monday to settle this, the trial, won't happen now. We've just learned that there has been a settlement in the case. And that is, we don't know how much it was, but it is going to mean that this homeowner is going to get a bunch of money to put a house back onto this lot. It's a long way to go to just have a house put back, but it may yet happen now. That's all for me. Back to you guys.
Wow, what a wild story. Good to know there's a resolution coming for that. Thanks so much for that update, John. Appreciate it.
An ongoing road closure in the Swansea neighborhood. This is after a storm sewer collapsed, leading and leaving a sinkhole.
This is a live look at the scene near Windermere Avenue near Morningside Avenue. The sewer has been repaired. The road has been patched up, but Windermere, it remains closed in the area.
Well, the city's getting ready to kick off a pothole repair blitz. Officials say the first phase is scheduled to get underway right around 10:30 tonight. It'll run until 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when a second larger phase will start. That'll go until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The city says that it's not seeing an increase in potholes from last year at this time, but that crews are continuing to work proactively to identify, document, and fix road damage.
Record-breaking temperatures around the GTA today, but colder air, it is returning.
Yeah, Pearson Airport hit 15.2 degrees this afternoon, topping the old record of 11.6. That was set in 2008. It's also been windy with a gust of 79 kilometers an hour at the airport this afternoon. The winds will diminish this evening. The temperature drops to -1 tonight. Monica Vaswani, a warning preparedness meteorologist with Environment Canada, says that it'll feel like winter again tomorrow.
Daytime highs closer to around 3 degrees in the GTA. And we're also going to deal with a secondary system. Now, that system is not going to move in until tomorrow evening. So that's Saturday evening. But what it will do is bring a rain-snow mix to the downtown core. But if you're in the northern GTA, York region, Newmarket even, you are likely seeing accumulating snow and even maybe the risk of some freezing rain into Sunday morning. And that's not all, unfortunately. By Sunday, it's going to feel like full-blown winter again. Wind chills in the minus double digits by the afternoon, and our lake effect snow machine is turning back on for the snowbelt regions.
And a warning has been issued about rising water levels due to the rain this week and that snow melt. This is a look at the Humber River in Etobicoke. The Toronto and Region Conservation Authority says rivers may rise and flow faster than usual over the next couple of days. They also say riverbanks may be unstable and people, especially children, should stay away from them.
And despite the melting snow, the city says Earl Bell's Ski and Snowboard Center is still open. Chopper 24 was over the ski hill this morning. The city-run attraction opened for the first time this winter. That was on Wednesday.
It is 5 degrees at 5:48. Yeah, we've seen that temperature really drop today. This is Live at 5.
Well, coming up next, Ontario Solicitor General is exploring a ban on certain pet surgeries. The city of Brampton is making public its 2026 proposed budget today.
Mayor Patrick Brown was joined by some of his fellow council members to take the wraps of their proposal. If it gets council approval, it will be a 1.5% hike, which they claim is one of the lowest in the GTA. If passed, it'll be tacked on to the Region of Peel's portion of the property tax increase, which has come in at just over 3%.
Over the last 7 years, we've had a concerted effort to make sure the Peel Police have the tools to do their job. When I was elected mayor, I looked at the per capita policing to population ratios, and we had among the worst ratios in the province. That has changed because in recent years we've made record investments in policing. Last year, we hired 300 new police officers, whether it's the extortion task force, whether it's the auto theft task force, whether it's the focus on intimate partner violence. We have given Chief Nish the tools to do his job within his jurisdiction.
Last year, Brampton's portion of the tax bill came in at just shy of 3%. Well, the province is suing Kill Digital Solutions. That's one of the companies at the center of the Skills Development Fund scandal.
The software company operates a platform for mental health care. Kiel received about $7.5 million in skills development funding, despite its application being lower ranked than others. In November, the OPP opened an investigation into the company after an audit found irregularities. Now the province has filed a statement of claim alleging fraudulent misrepresentation relating to contracts with the colleges and universities ministry. The suit is seeking $25.9 million. Ontario Liberal parliamentary leader John Fraser says this is another example of an attempted cover-up by the Ford government.
I think the whole Skills Development Fund, and I'm sure that most of my colleagues would agree, and even on the other side, needs a deep investigation. It needs to be investigated because it's not just this. It's, premier to the money to the premier's family dentist, money to a company that misled us during COVID with a principal who's been sanctioned by the Ontario Securities Commission. There are just more and more things that get revealed. $10 million to a strip club owner with connections.
NDP Shadow Finance Minister Jessica Bell says that she believes the lawsuit's an attempt at damage control.
I think the government is trying to make themselves look good and to give the impression that they want to, add some or bring some transparency to the Skills Development Fund. But quite frankly, they should have done that years ago. Ministry staff knew that Kill Digital Solutions was not delivering on the products that it said it was going to do, to deliver on. Yet David Pagini with the Skills Development Fund continued to give Kill Digital Solutions money, even though other ministry staff had concerns.
Ontario's Solicitor General is exploring a ban on certain pet surgeries deemed elective or cosmetic.
The government says that it'll begin consultations this year on banning medically unnecessary procedures that harm dogs and cats. That would include procedures like declawing and ear cropping. Veterinarian Linda Jacobson says that the province is moving in the right direction.
These are very, very slow processes. It takes years to get to this point. And that's why we are really hoping that the government will take that one more step and really do a complete job and not a partial job of banning these surgeries.
The Canadian Kennel Club's stance on cropping is to allow breeders the choice.
It's 5:55, 5 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Up next, the Golden Globes are this Sunday, and a Korean-Canadian filmmaker behind K-pop Demon Hunters is up for 2 awards.
Well, the Golden Globes kick off Hollywood's award season Sunday night.
Rise and shine.
Pat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock.
One battle after another is the top nominee with 9 nods, including one for Leonardo DiCaprio. The White Lotus is the TV show with the most nominations with 6. And there's also a new category this year, Best Podcast. Nikki Glaser will host the Globes for the 2nd year in a row. Presenters include Julia Roberts and the stars of Heated Rivalry.
Well, Korean-Canadian filmmaker Maggie Kang is also nominated for her smash hit, K-pop Demon Hunters. The musical is up for Best Animated Feature and Best Box Office Achievement.
Bruno Mars officially back with his first solo album in nearly a decade.
Hey, Mr. DJ! I Just Might is a 70s throwback that is the lead single to Mars' next album, The Romantic. It'll stream and be on sale February 27th. The singer also announced a new global tour with 2 shows at Broader Stadium in May.
It is 5:59 and 5 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
We're still under a special weather statement in the city as strong winds continue. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.